Have you ever heard someone say, if you only do it once a week, watch what happens to you? It sounds intriguing, almost like a dare. The truth is, there is a secret reason people keep failing at their goals and how to fix it. But few are brave enough to investigate it. When I tested a simple shift in perspective for 7 days, my results, clarity, confidence, and a renewed sense of purpose that felt almost surreal. I asked 100 experts about how a single decision can reshape a life, and their answers varied wildly. Some insisted it all comes down to mindset, others pointed to discipline, and a few emphasized the importance of setting goals that terrify you. The biggest lie about achieving success is that it belongs only to those with exceptional talent or luck. In reality, if you can learn to break the rules you've unconsciously set for yourself, you might find that one trick you've been missing. People laughed when I tried going all in on a new planet, till they saw my life transform in ways no one predicted. Is it killing your ambition or boosting it? That depends on whether you choose to ignore the signs or to lean into them. This changed my life forever. Here's how it can change yours. Commit to small, consistent actions that compound over time. If your goals don't scare you, they aren't big enough. And if you think you can get away with doing something only once a week, watch what happens to your momentum when you switch to daily practice. Never try to upgrade your entire life unless you're ready for radical shifts. I went from doubtful and hesitant to driven and focused in what felt like 3 simple steps. First, I understood that the world will not hand me opportunities on a silver platter. Second, I realized I had to stop doing things the hard way and start seeking smarter strategies. Third, I embraced the fact that a single action done consistently can outweigh a flurry of random efforts. Warning: this could ruin your excuses, your comfort zone, or your old identity. Because once you glimpse what real progress looks like, it becomes impossible to return to mediocrity. What everyone gets wrong about personal development is thinking it's about obsessing over the perfect plan. In truth, it's about building an unbreakable mindset and following through with unrelenting discipline. The secret I keep: to stand out, do the work every time, even when you're not in the mood. Stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. People laughed when I told them my next goal was bigger than anything I had attempted before. They thought I was delusional. But I broke the rules of conventional wisdom, and it worked. This one trick: taking massive action, even when you feel unprepared, saved my entire trajectory. You're missing out if you aren't trying to push your limits, because those limits are usually illusions that vanish once tested. Let's look at how mastering your mind, setting massive goals, cultivating discipline, choosing your environment wisely, and acting boldly can take you from average to fortune. It starts with mastering your mindset, the invisible battleground that determines whether you'll step up or shrink back in the face of challenge. Most people assume intelligence or talent is the primary driver of success, yet history proves otherwise. Visionaries like Henry Ford were not necessarily the most educated or naturally gifted. Their secret lay in their unshakable belief that obstacles could be overcome, and that doubt, whether from within or from external critics, was simply a puzzle waiting to be solved. When Ford insisted on creating the V8 engine, experts claimed it was impossible. Their protests didn't sway him, because he had cultivated the mental fortitude to persist until the impossible became a reality. You might think such self-assurance is reserved for a rare few, but in truth, your mindset is pliable, shaped by the thoughts you choose to entertain. If you continually tell yourself, "I can't," you'll create an internal wall that blocks your progress. On the other hand, if you train yourself to ask, How can I spark creativity and solution-oriented thinking? This shift might seem subtle, but its impact is profound. Over time, your mind becomes a garden where ideas of possibility grow tall and strong, overshadowing the weeds of self-doubt. The process requires vigilance. You can't afford to let negative beliefs fester, because they will sabotage you from the inside out. Regularly challenge your limiting thoughts, and replace them with questions that move you toward solutions. The more you do this, the more your internal narrative changes, and the more resilient you become in the face of adversity. Yet, mindset alone isn't enough. You need a target to aim for, and that's where goals come into play. The mistake most people make is setting goals that feel comfortable. If your goals don't send a chill down your spine, you're playing too small. Aim for something that requires you to stretch beyond your comfort zone, something that makes your hands sweat and your heart race. This anxiety isn't a red flag to back off. It's an invitation to grow. Break your massive goal into smaller tasks you can tackle daily. $1 million idea might seem out of reach, but focusing on what you must do today, this week, and this month makes it tangible. It's like climbing a mountain. If you obsess over the summit, you'll feel overwhelmed. But if you concentrate on the next step, then the next, you eventually find yourself at the top. Here's the thing. Motivation will come and go. You'll wake up some days bursting with enthusiasm, and on others, you'll feel lethargic. That's precisely why discipline is your safety net. Discipline fills the gap when motivation wanes. It ensures you do what needs to be done, day in and day out, no matter how you feel. This is where most people falter. They assume they must be motivated to act, never realizing that taking action despite a lack of motivation can ignite a new wave of momentum. Repetition cements habits. Each time you push yourself to work on your goals when you'd rather do something else, you strengthen your willpower. Over time, your ability to act regardless of emotional ebbs and flows becomes second nature. That's the essence of relentless self-discipline. You're not a slave to fleeting feelings. Instead, you're guided by a commitment to the life you want to build. The environment you choose can either bolster your discipline or erode it. People often underestimate how much influence their social circle has on their standards and ambitions. If you're surrounded by individuals who belittle your dreams, dismiss personal growth, and settle for mediocrity, it becomes exponentially harder for you to maintain a high standard. Humans are social creatures. We unconsciously mirror the behaviors and attitudes of those around us. If your closest friends constantly complain and procrastinate, you risk adopting the same mindset. Conversely, if you align yourself with people who are hungry for success, you'll find yourself compelled to match their energy. Spend time with high achievers, and their drive becomes contagious. They challenge your excuses, celebrate your wins, and hold you accountable. Mentors accelerate this process even further, providing guidance that can save you from costly mistakes. If direct mentorship isn't accessible, seek it indirectly, through books, interviews, and events that immerse you in an atmosphere of growth. Over time, you'll notice a profound shift. What once felt impossible or far-fetched becomes not only attainable, but a natural next step in your evolution. It's like being part of a relay team, where everyone's collective effort helps you run faster and push further than you ever thought possible. The quality of your environment isn't just about people, either. It's about the physical and mental spaces you inhabit. Do you have a cluttered workspace that drains your energy? Are you exposing yourself to endless negative news or mindless scrolling that saps your creativity? Streamline your environment to minimize distractions and foster focus. Make it easier for yourself to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. Still, all of this remains theoretical without massive action. You can have the best mindset, the most terrifyingly exciting goals, rock-solid discipline, and a supportive network. Yet, if you don't move, you'll stay exactly where you are. Inaction is the silent killer of dreams. Many people wait for the perfect time to act, believing they need more knowledge or more certainty. The irony is that clarity often emerges only after you take the first step. Action begets momentum, and momentum makes you unstoppable. The fear of failure looms large for many, but failure is merely feedback. Every misstep teaches you something you couldn't have learned by staying on the sidelines. Look at any successful entrepreneur, athlete, or artist, and you'll see a trail of failures that paved the way to mastery. They didn't let mistakes define them, they let mistakes refine them. By taking imperfect steps, you gain insights, recalibrate, and try again. Each iteration brings you closer to your goal. Compare that to someone who waits endlessly for everything to line up just right. They might avoid early stumbles, but they also forfeit the invaluable lessons learned through trial and error. In the long run, they remain paralyzed, stuck in the realm of possibilities rather than experiencing tangible results. If you want to rise above average, embrace action with all its messiness. Jump into the fray, gather experiences, and adapt as you go. That's how you build momentum so strong it propels you through obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. The most powerful combination emerges when these elements, mindset, audacious goals, discipline, environment, and action, coalesce into a single driving force. It's the difference between a car idling in neutral and one that's fully engaged, engine roaring, and tires gripping the road. When your mindset is fortified, you believe you can overcome challenges. When your goals are huge, you have a compelling reason to show up every day. When your discipline is unwavering, you don't let fleeting emotions sabotage your progress. When your environment is supportive, you're constantly reminded of what's possible, and you have allies who push you to excel. Finally, when you take massive action, you transform all those potentials into real-world achievements. None of these steps stand alone. They reinforce one another, creating a chain reaction of growth. Imagine your life a year from now if you decide to implement these principles wholeheartedly. You could be looking at a promotion you once considered out of reach, a healthier body that seemed unattainable, or a business idea that evolved from a daydream into a profitable venture. What once felt like a fantasy becomes a concrete outcome because you refused to settle for average. Even more crucially, you'll have cultivated the internal traits resilience, courage, adaptability that enable you to aim even higher. And that's the real treasure. Not just a single victory, but the ability to replicate and scale success in any area of your life. In the end, it all comes down to your willingness to make a choice. Average is comfortable, familiar, and predictable, but it's also limiting. Fortune, whether that means financial prosperity, personal fulfillment, or a sense of meaning, isn't handed out randomly. It's earned through deliberate decisions and sustained effort. The first decision is believing you can transcend your current circumstances. The next is setting a goal so ambitious that it demands the best version of you. Then, day by day, you let discipline anchor your actions. You refine your surroundings to keep yourself inspired. And when fear tries to hold you back, you act anyway, knowing that courage is forged through doing, not waiting. The beauty of this approach is that it creates a virtuous cycle. The more you see the fruits of your labor, the stronger your mindset becomes. The bigger your goals grow, the more disciplined you have to be, which in turn demands an even more empowering environment all of which spurs you to take bolder actions. Each element feeds the next, creating a self-sustaining engine of growth that can carry you further than you ever imagined. This journey isn't just about accumulating wealth or status, though those might be welcome side effects. It's about experiencing the profound satisfaction of realizing you're capable of more than you once believed. It's about inspiring others to step out of their own limitations, creating a ripple effect that uplifts communities, families, and entire industries. And perhaps most importantly, it's about living with the unshakable confidence that you are actively shaping your destiny, rather than being tossed around by circumstances. In a world where many choose to settle, deciding to rise above is an act of courage and leadership. It signals to everyone around you and, most critically, to yourself that you refuse to be defined by average standards. It wasn't about luck or innate talent. It was about the unwavering commitment to become the architect of your own destiny. And that is how you transform from average to fortune, one bold, deliberate choice at a time.